When does the scene start to animate, Brainy?
It already has, Pinklet. The question is, when does Al Gore start to animate?
The President and I are pleased with the manner in which we are moving toward the 21st century by building a very long bridge.
Al Gore's just going to keep on talking, isn't he, Brainy?
Yes, Pinklet. But at least we know where all that wind was coming from in the last chapter.
Hello, peoples of the internet. I'm the Animation Analyst, and I'm back for another Season 5 MLP review. Now, before I start this review properly, I'd like to apologize for the lack of content lately. I know I said I'd try to get some MLP reviews done over Christmas break, but lo and behold, I got lazy. Again, I apologize. And of course, now that I'm getting into the second half of the next semester of college, things are gonna get slow again, but I do have a plan for getting some content on this channel on a consistent basis. Now, I can't exactly make the reviews while I'm doing college stuff, but I can at least write the scripts and create a backlog of reviews to make over the summer. Then all I have to do is record my audio and edit everything together, which doesn't take that long. Again, I'm sorry for not updating too often, but I'll try to get any content I can make uploaded here as soon as I can. With all that said, let's get this review started already. Today's episode is written by the so far underwhelming writer Josh Haber. That episode is Bloom and Gloom. This episode starts with Apple Bloom having a big announcement to make at the CMC Clubhouse.
Apple Bloom, what's this all about? Oh, nothing. Except this letter from FiM saying she's got her cutie mark. What?
Well, that's neat. Now, if only DHX could at least give a cameo of her sometime soon. Anyway, this causes Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo to start asking questions regarding Babs' new cutie mark. Questions that Apple Bloom apparently never thought of, as she is soon having a near panic attack. Then again, she has been hanging around Twilight a lot since Twilight time, so maybe some of Twilight rubbed off on her or something. Anyway, after the intro, we cut to Apple Bloom getting tucked in for bed, still panicking over everything Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo said during their meeting. AJ, probably tired of getting screams shot in her ear, tells her little sister to just sleep on it and she'll feel better in the morning.
Hush now, little sister, you're loved by all you know. You'll never lose their friendship, no matter where you go.
No, wait! I'm allergic to adorableness!
There ain't no call to worry, so don't you cry or fret. A cutie mark won't change you, no matter what you get.
Aww.
But seriously, while AJ may not always have the best solo episode, she almost always has some of the best character interactions, whether they be funny like with her and Pinky in Wonderbolt's Academy, or heartwarming as is the case here. Anyway, we cut to the next morning where Apple Bloom tells AJ her sleep idea worked and she feels better.
See? Now what did I tell you? A good night's sleep will fix just about it. Well, no wonder you were so worked up.
What? What is it?
Looks like some pony got her cutie mark.
I can't believe it! I've got my cutie mark! I got my cutie mark! I got my cutie mark!
Okay, show of hands, how many of you immediately thought, this is a dream, isn't it? Like I did. I mean, they deliberately showed Apple Bloom falling asleep, which, if this wasn't a dream episode, would be almost completely pointless. Not to mention, who just wakes up and gets a random cutie mark? Then again, spoiler alert, this does turn out to be all a dream, so I guess I just never realized how unsubtle this episode was about it until now. Anyway, both Apple Bloom and AJ have no idea what the cutie mark she got means, but this random pony does apparently. He tells Apple Bloom that she is now a pest pony, and her job is to, well, take over his job as the one to get rid of all the bugs terrorizing Sweet Apple Acres.
You ever hear of
Twitter mates.
Why does that sound like a nickname you give to people obsessed with using Twitter? Anyway, as it turns out, with her new cutie mark, Apple Bloom is really good at being a pest pony. Anyway, the pest pony starts to leave for retirement, but Apple Bloom says that while she's apparently good at being a pest pony, it's not something she wants to spend her whole life doing. Can't say I really relate to this feeling, but I'm sure there are a few viewers out there who are told they're really talented in a certain area, but don't think it's something that fun to do. Anyway, the pest pony has already disappeared, and no sooner does that happen when Diamond Tyrant and Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon show up, somehow sounding more obnoxious than usual.
I might have known you'd end up with the worst cutie mark ever! But look on the bright side. Whenever you need a friend, you can just go out and catch one. That's not funny. Here, friend! Stop it! Here, Bug! Here, Bug! Will you be my friend, Bug? Because no pony else will.
Ugh, this dialogue is painful. Then again, Dr. Wolf made a fair point in his review of this episode when he said that because this is a dream episode, it would make sense for them to sound this obnoxious, because that's probably how Apple Bloom sees them. Doesn't make it any less grating for me, the viewer, but whatever. Anyway, Apple Bloom runs off and ends up in some part of the Everfree Forest, I assume.
If your cutie mark bothers you so much, get rid of it.
Well, if you know how to wave a hoof and erase a terrible cutie mark, you go right ahead.
As easily said as done.
Now that is some serious magic.
Okay, show of hands, again. Who thought this voice was Starlight Glimmer like I did? Seriously, a mysterious voice in the shadows and Apple Bloom gets her cutie mark taken away? When you put two and two together like that, it kinda makes sense. Anyway, no sooner does the mysterious figure, which I swear is Starlight Glimmer, take away Apple Bloom's cutie mark when a giant swarm of Twitter mites attacks all of Ponyville. Apple Bloom tries to catch them like she did before, but without her old cutie mark, she does it about as effectively as a one-legged pony in an apple bucking contest. Okay, what is this show's fascination with destroying the Apple family's barn? So yeah, all of that was a dream. Big shock, I know, right? Anyway, Apple Bloom goes downstairs in what seems like for reals this time, and tells AJ about her dream.
Now, what did I tell you? A good night's sleep will fix just about... Well, no wonder you were so worked up. What? Looks like some pony got her cutie mark.
Again?
And suddenly, this episode has turned into Inception. Anyway, this time Apple Bloom gets a cutie mark that doesn't seemingly come out of nowhere, and we get a nice callback to Twilight Time. She goes off to tell Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo about her new mark, and yeah, you probably know where this is going. It's obviously Apple Bloom having dreams involving all the anxiety she was facing over the questions brought up earlier in the episode. Getting a mark you don't like, getting her mark before her friends, and... Wait, does this mean we're gonna see Apple Bloom getting disowned from her family? Well, shit. Anyway, her friends are happy about Apple Bloom getting her mark, but are sad that they didn't get theirs yet.
I know it's silly, but I always hoped we'd get our cutie marks together.
Oh, just wait till later this season. Apple Bloom tries to make a meeting dedicated to getting their marks too, but they point out that she's technically not a Crusader anymore, and since the clubhouse is for Crusaders only, she's forced to leave.
Rules are rules. I don't even think we're still supposed to be friends.
Anyway, Apple Bloom once again ends up in that weird foresty place, and the mysterious voice, again, takes her mark away. She goes back to tell Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo they can be friends again. However...
Actually, Apple Bloom, we both sort of got our cutie marks.
You did? What are they?
Oh, we don't have time to go into all that.
And because the animators are too lazy to come up with good fake ones. Anyway, one bad ending to a nightmare later, Apple Bloom wakes up again.
What in Equestria is going on?
Like I said, My Little Pony meets Inception. Anyway, Apple Bloom goes downstairs again, this time to tell AJ that her sleeping idea didn't seem to work.
See? Now what did I tell you? A good night's sleep will fix... Well, no wonder you were so worked up.
What? Didn't you hear what I said? I was trying to...
Well, what do we have here?
What is it, Granny? What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Right, Applejack?
Right. Nothing at all. Right, Big Mac?
Truth is, Apple Bloom, it's your cutie mark.
And now my interest is suddenly piqued.
And we don't have room for non-apples.
Nope.
Time for you to mosey on.
And suddenly this episode goes from being averagely entertaining to amazingly entertaining. It's such a simple kind of gag to do, but even simply making one character's voice coming out of another character's mouth can be extremely funny. At least for me. Also, yeah, like I suspected earlier, Apple Bloom's getting fucking disowned from her family.
You know, for kids!
Anyway, Apple Bloom wakes up again, and this is where things start getting really weird.
Oh, wait! I never thought I'd be so happy to not get a cutie mark. What the...
So, her special talent would be being herself? Anyway, Apple Bloom starts getting really frustrated and via a Monsters Inc. door ends up in that weird Everfree Forest looking place again, and the voice, once again, offers Apple Bloom her assistance despite her rejections.
I didn't cast a spell on you or anybody else. I only did what you wanted. Why would I want you to torment me with nightmares? You didn't want to catch bugs and I helped. You didn't want to lose friends and I helped. If there's a problem with your family, I'm sure I can help with that too. I don't want your help!
That's not Starlight Glimmer. In fact, I don't know what that thing is, but I do know that it's creepy.
Oh, Apple Bloom, you can't get away from your own shadow.
So yeah, if it wasn't obvious by this point, this is the conclusion to what I call the Luna Dream Trilogy, with the episodes Sleepless in Ponyville and For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils being the first two entries. All I can say is any episode that involves showing more of Luna is a cool episode in my books.
It's just me? You mean I've been doing all this to myself?
Of course, Apple Bloom. It's your dream.
If I've been dreaming this whole time, why don't I just wake up?
Sometimes we can worry about a thing so much the fear can make us feel like we're trapped in a nightmare. I don't suppose there's anything you're particularly afraid of, is there?
Yeah. I guess I'm pretty worried about getting my cutie mark.
Well, that is the same as worrying about who you are. That is all a cutie mark is. If you cannot accept who you are, your life might seem like a bad dream.
Wow, that's really clever, actually. I've never seen a moral like this taught so creatively before. Heck, I don't think I've really seen this kind of moral, period. Kudos to this episode. Anyway, Luna shows Apple Bloom that Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo have been having nightmares too, and she calls them all together.
We're still asleep? Cool!
I don't know whether to smile from this, or bawl my eyes out.
I know we all got pretty anxious when we found out Babs got her cutie mark, but I, for one, don't want to have nightmares every night from now until we get ours. Me neither. And even though we're all a little scared, a cutie mark won't change who we are or how every pony feels about us.
It's lucky we're all scared of the same things. That way
way we can help and remind each other to just be who we are.
And when the day comes that you all finally get your cutie marks, you can be sure they'll fit you to a T.
Like I said, just wait till later this season. Anyway, Apple Bloom wakes up for reals this time, and we get a nice sister moment between her and AJ, and the episode ends on a cheesy joke.
See? Now, what did I tell you? A good night's sleep cures just about everything.
I guess so. I just wish it hadn't been so exhausting.
And now it's time for the animation analysis. This is a special part of my reviews where I talk about the highlights of the episode in terms of animation. The highlights for this episode in terms of animation include all the subtle changes made every time Apple Bloom ends up in a new dream, such as the food AJ's making for breakfast being different every time, and the little background gags in Apple Bloom's bedroom window late into the episode. There's also the visuals and the dreamscape once Luna enters the episode. It doesn't quite beat out the road to Star Haven that appears in For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, but it's still cool to look at. Anyway, that's Bloom and Gloom, and this was a pretty good episode. This episode is one of the more unique episodes of the show in terms of its storytelling. Despite it doing things multiple times, it doesn't really come across as repetitive, mostly because it has Apple Bloom point out when things seem like deja vu, particularly when it happens for the third time. And like I said, if you look hard enough, you can see little subtle changes made to make each new dream feel different from the last, even with how they start off. It also tells a really nice and rather mature moral in one of the most creative ways I've seen done in this show. So, with all that said, is it bad for me to say that this is actually one of my lesser favorite episodes of this season? That's not to say I hate it or even dislike it. I do like this episode. It's just that, with the exception of that Big Mac scene in the third dream sequence, this episode is a little too boring for my taste. And by boring, I mean not very funny. I mean, I've said previously that I don't need an episode to be funny for me to enjoy it, and I still do partly enjoy this episode, but I also said that episodes that I find to be funny will be higher up on my favorites list than ones that aren't most of the time. My opinions of this episode are actually a lot like Dr. Wool's, in which I appreciate the episode for what it does more so than how I actually enjoy it. Overall though, Bloom and Gloom accomplishes what it wants to do well, even if it isn't quite as entertaining as what I usually like in episodes of this show. It's a nice conclusion to the Luna Dream trilogy, it gave us good development for Apple Bloom's character, and it gave us one of the greatest morals this show has done, not only in what it teaches, but the way it's told as well. I have to give Josh Haber credit for writing an episode that has a story that doesn't feel like one that's been told many times before in other works of fiction. Anyway, that's the end of my review. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and feel free to leave review suggestions for if and when I stop doing or take a break from doing MLP reviews. Anyway, for my next MLP review, we look at the return of one of my personal favorite writers of this show, Cindy Morrow, with the episode Tanks for the Memories. Sayonara, every pony!